With Ronova, the shade of death being involved in Natlan, this adds to the evidence that the shade have played significant roles to varying degrees across different nations in Teyvat. Don't believe me? Let's break it down. We have Istarov, the shade of time or moment in Inazuma, linked to the Seika Sakura tree and Enkanomiya, and the shade of life in Fontaine, connected to Egeria and the Oceanids. At first glance, it may seem that only these two nations have received help or intervention from the shades. But if you look closer, Liyue, Mondstadt, and even Sumeru could be included as well. For Mondstadt, the word quest time and wind or something like sacrificial bow's description suggests that Istarov, or at least Master of Time, play a crucial role in Mondstadt in the past. You know, being worshipped alongside the animal god. The question is, why have they been forgotten? Was it because of their close ties to the people of Mondstadt? And remember, we are still talking about the shade here. Like, if they were involved, why isn't there more evidence that we can find, aside from the sundial and the unnamed island? Perhaps like old history, their legacy, their full ruin, and so on. Which kinda reminds me of the time when the original Mondstadt library burned down during the Great Fire of Fall Equinox, resulting in a large collection of literature being burned to the ground. You see, this event is so tragic, not only causing harm to the people of Mondstadt, but also to the scholar in the future, or even to us, the players, to know the history of this land, which could potentially lead us to understand their old practice with the Master of Time. Perhaps we will get those answers in the future expansion for Mondstadt, or from Imaginarium Theater event, or even Fantasy Second Story Quest. Though I am skeptical about how soon that might happen. I personally believe Istaro's situation might be more unique than we realize. Tied to the idea of concept of time, it is possible that in trying to help humanity, they became entangled in their own time-related plans. This could explain why the people of Mondstadt seem to have forgotten them. For instance, the ongoing samsara might even be part of one of Istarov's grand scheme. But I digress. Let's move on to Sumeru. I think Sumeru has a strong connection to the Shade of Life. While we haven't found any physical evidence of their involvement yet, the themes in Sumeru are deeply intertwined with life. Aside from the Dendro element, which is the element of nature, we can see how the powers of Lokadevata and the goddess of flowers have given rise to unique life forms, such as the Aranara, the Jinn, and the Pari. Yes, in this context, I personally associate the Shade of Life with the creation of living being, just as described in the Fontaine Wind Glider. So, to a certain extent, these goddesses have knowledge of life. Now, if that was the case, I wonder, did they gain this knowledge on their own, or was it imparted to them by another entity, which I suspect has a link to the Shade of Life? Now, if you think Sumeru isn't that intriguing, perhaps Liyue might make you see things in a more suspicious way, especially when it comes to Zhongli. But then again, most of us probably already expect that. Then what's the reason? The reason is that Liyue is somewhat of an anomaly here. Unlike other regions, there are two shades that might be related to Liyue as far as I could find. The first one, which you have probably guessed, is the thing that has been associated with Liyue and Zhongli, and that is the cube. I wonder why Zhongli chose that shape. We have long suspected that the cube might be related to the unknown god or the shade of space, or void if you prefer that term. This is further supported by Adatus art, particularly their ability to create subspace. If I remember correctly, Madame Ping mentioned this when we were introduced to the teapot system, or when we visit some of Adatus' abodes, like Xianyun one. And there is also Zhongli and Adatus' habit of sealing things, a process that seems to involve manipulating space. So from here, we can infer that Zhongli, as the prime adeptus, possessed some knowledge of spatial matters, potentially linking him to the shade of space. Okay, how about the other shade then? Well, this is quite simple. We only need to look at the Zhongli boss, Hu Tao, or specifically Hu family's business, Wangsheng Funeral Parlor. What makes them important here is their knowledge about the afterlife, how human soul should belong to, which, if you think about it for a moment, is quite similar to Natlan. The obvious examples are like, to a certain degree, they could access a place between life and death, called the border in Hu Tao story quest, or their business name, meaning the Hall of Rebirth, or their ritual involving fire as a method to purify soul, and even the Homa symbol that also occur in Natlan through the Master of the Night Wind. And here's the question: how and where did they get this kind of knowledge? Did Rek Lapis bless them? Did they go to Natlan in the past during the Archon War? Or was this knowledge common back then? Or perhaps there was interference from a higher entity, such as the World of Death, Ronova? Nothing for sure. But the point is, there's potential that Ronova somehow gets involved here, either through books or sending an emissary, or perhaps through Rek Lapis himself. After all of that, then what we can learn from these discoveries? Well, one thing's for sure, it seems like the Shade indeed have at least influence or interfere in certain events in various nations. But here's the catch. Have you ever wondered why they even do that in the first place? The usual explanation is that they love their creations, or are simply interested in them, or to protect Teyvat from its doom. But at the same time, I feel like the answer is too simple. I mean, could there be another motive for their action, like a personal motive? Because they do these things in secret, and if they get caught, they are afraid of being punished by the Heavenly Principles. It feels like everything they do that directly involve the human realm is forbidden. This is really suspicious. Why? Because we have been told and found that the heaven love their creation and their quality, like humanity. But on the other hand, the Shade, who are also part of the heavenly hierarchy, seem forbidden from interacting with them, as if they are afraid of disrupting something. It is also worth remembering that in the past, like around the time of One Unified Civilization, there were many stories about the heaven interacting with their creation. Heck, we even talk about Mondstadt, which in the past worshipped one of the Shade, the Master of Time. Then, for whatever reason, perhaps after a war like the Cataclysm or taking a nap, they stopped doing that. Starting from this, I feel like there's some kind of conspiracy behind all this action of the Shade. Like, there's a grand plan they are preparing, whether for the better or worse for Teyvat. If you think my suspicion are onto something, then what do you think the plan is? Personally, I think the Shade action might be an attempt to free their creation from the tyranny of the Heavenly Principles, like a rebellion. But again, this is just a surface level speculation, and we still need more research to dig in. I just hope in version 5.3 we could get further information from Ronova. If you have your own theory regarding this topic, then feel free to share it in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe to this channel if you find this video interesting. Hello Zen here, and see you next time. Bye bye.